execution. Execution. Gather round. Gather round. All right. Being the executioner of the Shire, it is my job to drop the trapdoor. But first, let me tell you a little bit about hangings. It used to be very easy. We used to just take a rope, wrap it around a guy's neck, and leave him there dangling and straining. There you go. Death should take 20, sometimes even 30 minutes. Very long and drawn out. Now, after hundreds of years of thinking about this, and I love this, it took hundreds of years to come up with the concept of the trapdoor. But with it, its own particular set of problems. You see, too short a drop, and you're still left dangling and strangled. While too long a drop, it'll rip the victim's head right off its body. And that's cause for rioting in the streets, because that's a botched execution. It's okay to lose your head on the guillotine, get stretched on a rack, broken on the wheel, burnt at the stake, dropped on spikes, locked in the Iron Maiden, and much, much more. But don't dare botch an execution. Now, eventually, the execution became an exact mathematical formula. Based on your height, based on your weight, it would tell an executioner like me how far down a body has to drop in order for the head to snap back and the neck to break. But even at that, it wasn't perfect. You look distraught already, milady. Even that wasn't foolproof. Sometimes the guy still wasn't dead. And so for a little extra money, I would allow a loved one to go up to the hanging victim, wrap their arms around his legs, and pull down, hastening death. Now these people who were hanging on to the legs, they had a name. They were called hangers-on. A term we still get today, right? Now, let me teach you a little more about execution. One of our favorite methods of execution was separating someone from their head. What's the face for? I saw that. All right, here's one of our favorite ways. The Edmund's axe. Now, you would think it'd be very easy to cut somebody's head off with this, but really it wasn't. And here's why. First of all, it's a very awkward and unbalanced piece of equipment. Secondly, you're holding it down low so you can get a real nice swing. What's the chances of bringing this heavy awkward thing down exactly where you need it to be? Very difficult to do. And so to circumvent this problem, we will resort to the executioner's sword. Now this sword is much different than the one I'm wearing here. This one is fine for doing battle. This one is very short. It's not pointy. And it's hardly sharp at all, but it is good for cutting off heads. And so the victim is kneeling here with his head on the chopping block. There's another one we use today, right? What happens if you're in trouble at work? What do they say? His head's on the chopping block, right? So there's two. Two, right? Right. So the victim is here, his head's on the chopping block, the executioner stands beside him, takes the sword, lines it up with his neck, brings it down with all his might, cutting the head clean off, right? If only without most of the time, we've had a couple of drinks. It is not uncommon for our aim to be just a wee bit off. Many times an executioner's sword would come down, hit somebody in the shoulder, perhaps on the side of the neck, or even lob off the top of the head. Something else to consider is that after several executions, this sword is about as sharp as a butter knife. So instead of a nice clean cut, we're happy to weigh it in neck as best we can. It's been known to take as many as 5 blows with a dull sword to remove the head, sometimes having to resort to the knife to finish the job. Now, how many expressions are we up to, my lord? 2 is right. Here's a couple more. Back then, there was no medical knowledge. It was not uncommon to find yourself buried alive. Now we would know this because we would need the room in the cemeteries to dig up the graves to put the bodies in a bonehouse, and we'd find the inside of the coffin lids all clawed up. So the people began being afraid of being buried alive. So what we did, we started taking rope and tied it around the wrists. That rope would come up through the coffin, led through the grave, and be attached to a bell by the side of the grave. Now, should you happen to wake up, all you have to do is move your wrist, the bell will ring, and hopefully someone will come and get you. If that happens, that's known as being saved by the bell. Right? She goes, oh, that's 3. If you're the person in the coffin moving your wrist, you're known as the dead ringer. But here's the good one. None of that would do any good if there wasn't someone in the graveyard to listen for the bell. Now during the day that wasn't a problem. But we needed someone to stay in the graveyard working all night, listening for the bell. And that's known as working a graveyard shift. All right. Now, wait a minute. Please. Adoring public. I don't even know. All right. Now, what are we talking about? I'm not here to talk to you about expressions. I'm not even here to talk to you about executions. What I'm here to talk to you about is weapons and going to war. And if I'm going to need that, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to need to talk to some of the guys. So guys, you two, front and center, come on. I need some help on this one. Come on, I need some help. I need a couple of guys. There we go, there's another one. There's another one, beautiful. Let's get all the guys we can. Now, guys, we are the soldiers. We are the soldiers. We are the warriors. We are going to war. We are fighting for the honor of our country. We are fighting for the honor of our queen. We are fighting for the honor of our God. Right? Right. 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 Now, we're out there. We're standing tall. We're risking it all. Right? Come on. If you don't do it loud, the girls are going to kick your ass. Right? All right. So if we're out on the battlefield, that means one thing. The women are home alone. So I got one question to ask you tonight. I only got one question today. If the women are home alone, can we trust them? This is going to be really ugly. Can we trust them? All right. And that is why I'm going to show you the most unbelievable, the most important weapon in the entire weapons of war arsenal. Gentlemen, the chastity belt. God, at least we heard for the chastity belt. Somebody, thank you very much.
Excuse me, my lords. Get out of my way. Guards, move back. Ladies, we need to talk. God, this is the chastity. Your license to be over.
There's a loophole in the chastity belt.
That's right. The men are at war. All right. Do you think there might be some wenching going on? Yeah! Should we trust them? No! Do we need something to keep them alive? Yeah! Try that one on.
Bring out the large size.
Come on and try it for us.
All right, that is not funny. It doesn't come in a minute. Anyway, we have promised you an execution, so here it is. For the ladies, a well-armed man, and for the guys, I did it right because their head stayed on. She got that one. All right, listen, you guys are here at the dungeon. Right over here, we got 2 big shows in the dungeon. One, of course, is a medieval torture chamber. Over 20 pieces of torture, execution, and executions to make it come alive in a weird kind of way. And then over here also is the Weapons of War Museum, brand new this year. All the sharp, deadly, dangerous, pointy weapons you ever wanted to play with. Right behind these walls, and you can go in if you've got the blood of courage. So right inside here, see the Weapons of War, see the dungeon. Thank you very much.